Hi guys, it is Friday, March 15th, 2013. It is Friday the 15th. We're halfway through March already. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. It just seems like the Pope, well, the ex-Pope, just retired. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I can't believe it. Alright, I was going through uh, my programs, and you know, I typed in love, and it came up with of man for God, and I got some uh, verses I'd like to read, and these are verses of man's love for God, or how God is saying, this is what man's supposed to, how man's supposed to love God, or examples of man's love for God. All right. And shewing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and kept my commandments. Well, that one was one of God showing love to man. That's Exodus 20, verse 6. And these are all out of the King James Version Bible. And again, that was, and shewing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. And then we got Deuteronomy 5, chapter 5, 9, and 10 also says, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and kept my commandments. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thine soul, and with all thy might. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5. Know, therefore, that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9. And now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul. Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. Therefore thou shalt love the Lord thy God, and keep his charge, and his statutes, and his judgments, and his commandments always. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if ye shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love the Lord your God, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 13. For if ye shall diligently keep all these commandments which I command you to do them, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, and to cleave unto him. Deuteronomy 11:22. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams, for the Lord your God proveth you to know whether ye love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Deuteronomy 13, verse 3. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. Deuteronomy 30, verse 6. And that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes, his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess. Deuteronomy 30:16. And the last one is, and that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it. Deuteronomy 30, verse 16. You know, they're all about loving the Lord thy God, with the exception of the first one. The first one's talking about how God loves man and wants man to follow his commandments. And obviously, as you can see, these are all in the Old Testament. Why? Why not start with the Old, right? Start with the way it was in the beginning before you can get to the end, right? When you read a book, do you start at the end or do you start in the beginning? And in the beginning, God said, love me and no other. Cherish me and no other. Right? I think it's, and that was Exodus verse 20, or chapter 20, verse 6, Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 10, chapter 6, verse 5, chapter 7, verse 9, chapter 10, verse 12, chapter 11, verse 1, verse 13, verse 22, chapter 13, verse 3, chapter 30, verse 6, chapter 30, verse 16, chapter 30, verse 20. Those were the verses I read. When I upload it, I will try to put it in the box, but you know how that goes. I don't know if it'll be too long or not, but I'll try. So, alright, my brothers and sisters. This is part 1 of Love of Man for God. The beginning. I'm going to go and I'm going to keep with love of man for God, and I'm going to continue down each verse where it shows how, man's supposed to love God. Not bicker with your fellow man or bitch at your fellow man, right? Not fight with your fellow man, fellow brother, right? And I don't think it says that anywhere in the Bible. I believe it says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.